Yeah, we're definitely going to make that the theme for office hours. I'm going to do that in the spring too. So, good morning, Vaqueros. DJ Doc V with you here on office hours. It's 10:03 on Friday, April 28th. It's a beautiful 74 degrees at the Edinburgh campus of UTRGV. We're in the Edinburgh studio. Holy smokes, it is packed in here, y'all. There are more people here than I've ever seen in the entire studio. We've got the whole crew here. This is the last week of live programming. We'll be on autopilot over the summer, but many of the folks here are going to be back in the fall, right? Right? Yes. Okay. Yes. You have to come back. We've got some great music picked out for you today on the last edition of Office Hours in the spring 2023 semester. We've got some Who, some Todd Rundgren, probably maybe a double shot of The Clash a little bit later on. As we do every week at the bottom of the hour, we've got This Day in History, and I've got a poem picked out for you for 50 minutes after the hour from the 2020 edition of Gallery Magazine, another fine UTRGV student media publication. So make sure you stay tuned in. But don't turn away when it's the end of office hours. Remember, we've got the feminist hour coming up at 11 o'clock, so make sure you stay tuned in for that. They've got some great music. DJ Morena Libre. Well, wait, maybe she won't be there if the Brownsville still power out in Brownsville. She's not going to be there. Oh, shoot. Well, no feminist hour. That's right. There's a storm last night down in Brownsville, and that's why our Brownsville staff are here at the Edinburgh studio today. Power's still out, and looks like our feminist hour won't be able to do their show from the Brownsville studio. But anyway, make sure you stay tuned in. We've got some great music. This Day in History, really exciting. And for now, let's get back to the music. This is Wilco with Kingpin, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student. Yeah, it is a great thing to listen to. Good morning, Vaqueros. DJ Doc V. This is Office Hours, last Office Hours of the spring 2023 semester. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome. It is 10:20 on Friday, April 28th. Looks like we've got a beautiful 74 degrees here in Edinburgh. On the beautiful UTRGV campus. A high this afternoon of 89 degrees and a possibility of showers in the evening and overnight hours. Looks like we're looking at a 75 at 10 a.m. By 12 p.m., 83, maybe up to 85 at 1. For the weekend, for today, a high of 91. For tomorrow, a high of 81. And then Sunday, a high of 87. A beautiful sunny Sunday is the forecast today. So make sure you get out there and enjoy the weather. Looks like 56 degrees in Oklahoma City. It's a little chilly up there. And to our shout out to our friend Steve in Spokane, 47 degrees and partly cloudy in Spokane this morning. So we're thinking about you as we lounge around in our 74 degree weather. Sorry about that. Well, not really. Anyway, let's get back to the music. Coming up in just about 10 minutes, we'll do This Day in History. A couple of interesting stories today, but let's get back to the music. It's Toto with Hold the Line, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. Yeah, I don't want to work either. I want to bang the drum all day. Right? That'd be a lot better than working, that's for sure. Todd Rundgren with Bang the Drum on Vaquero Radio. It's DJ Doc V. It's office hours, last office hours of the semester. That was Todd Rundgren, as we said, Bang the Drum all day. Before that, Toto, Hold the Line. And I didn't even back announce the other set we had. We had U2, The Electric Co. Before that, XTC, Dear God. We started out the hour with Kingpin by Wilco from their double album Being There. As we do every week on Office Hours, it's time for This Day in History. And on this day, in 1945, Benito Mussolini is executed. Il Duce and his mistress, Clara Petacci, are shot by Italian partisans who had captured the couple as they attempted to flee to Switzerland. The 61-year-old deposed former dictator of Italy was established by his German allies as the figurehead of a puppet government in northern Italy during the German occupation toward the close of the war, as the Allies fought their way up the Italian peninsula defeat of the Axis powers all but certain, Mussolini considered his options, not wanting to fall into the hands of either the British or the Americans, and knowing that the communist partisans who had been fighting the remnants of roving Italian fascist soldiers and thugs in the north would try him as a war criminal, he settled on escape to a neutral country. He and his mistress made it to the Swiss border only to discover that the guards had crossed over to the partisan side. Knowing they would not let him pass, he disguised himself in a Luftwaffe coat and helmet, hoping to slip into Austria with some German soldiers. His subterfuge proved incompetent, and he and Petacci were discovered by partisans and shot. Their bodies then transported by truck to Milan, where they were hung upside down and displayed publicly for revilement by the masses. Whoa, what a way to go. Oh, goodness. Also on this day in history, President Nixon approves the Cambodian incursion. President Nixon gives his formal authorization to commit U.S. combat troops in cooperation with South Vietnamese units against communist troop sanctuaries in Cambodia. Also on this day in 1996, 35 are killed in Australia's Port Arthur massacre, mass shooting. As a result of that, they took some pretty significant action on guns in Australia, and since then we haven't really seen any mass shootings in Australia. In 1789, this is a really fascinating story. 1789, mutiny on the HMS Bounty. Listen to this. 3 weeks into a journey from Tahiti to the West Indies, the HMS Bounty is seized in a mutiny led by Fletcher Christian, the master's mate. Captain William Bligh and 18 of his loyal supporters were set adrift in a small open boat, and the Bounty set course for Tubuai, south of Tahiti. In December of 1787, the Bounty left England for Tahiti in the South Pacific, where it was to collect a cargo of breadfruit saplings to transport to the West Indies. There, the breadfruit would serve as food for enslaved passengers. After a 10-month journey, the Bounty arrived in Tahiti in October of 1788 and remained there for more than 5 months. On Tahiti, the crew enjoyed an idyllic life, reveling in the comfortable climate, lush surroundings, and the hospitality of the Tahitians. Fletcher Christian fell in love with a Tahitian woman named Mauatua. On April 4th of 1789, the Bounty departed Tahiti with its store of breadfruit saplings, but on April 28th, near the island of Tonga, Christian and 25 petty officers and seamen seized the ship. Bligh, who would eventually fall prey to a total of 3 mutinies in his career, was an oppressive commander and insulted those under him. By setting him adrift in an overcrowded 23-foot-long boat in the middle of the Pacific, Christian and his conspirators had apparently handed him a death sentence. By remarkable seamanship, however, Bligh and his men reached Timor in the East Indies on June 14, 1789, after a voyage of about 3,600 miles. Bligh returned to England and soon sailed again to Tahiti, from where he successfully transported breadfruit trees to the West Indies. Also on this day in history, Charles de Gaulle resigns as the leader of France. And finally, Muhammad Ali refuses army induction on this day in 1967. Born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. in Louisville, Kentucky, on January 14, 1942, the future 3-time world champ changed his name to Muhammad Ali in 1964 after converting to Islam. And on this day, in April 28, 1967, he refuses to be inducted into the U.S. Army and is immediately stripped of his heavyweight title. Ali, a Muslim, cited religious reasons for his decision to forego military service. That's this day in history on April 28th, 2023. It's currently 10:34 and 74 degrees in the Edinburgh studio here. Well, not in the studio, but in Edinburgh here on the UTRGV campus. We'll get back to the music here with a little White Stripes. Sit down and buckle in. This is Ball and Biscuit. Runaways with Cherry Bomb. They were an all-female American rock band who recorded and performed from 1975 to 1979. The band released 4 studio albums and 1 live album during its run. And if you recognize the vocals there, yep, that's Joan Jett. She was one of the founding members of the Runaways, formed in August of 1975 by drummer Sandy West and the aforementioned Joan Jett after they had separately introduced themselves to producer Kim Fowley, who gave Jett's phone number to West. Fowley then helped West and Jett find the other members. 2 decades later, he said, "I didn't put the Runaways together. I had an idea. They had ideas. We all met. There was combustion, and out of 5 different versions of that group came the 5 girls who were the ones that the people liked." Starting as a power trio with singer-bassist Mickey Steele, the Runaways began playing the party and club circuit around Los Angeles. They soon added lead guitarist Lita Ford, and Jett switched to rhythm guitar. Steele soon left the group, replaced by bassist Peggy Foster, who left after just 1 month. Lead singer Sherry Curry was recruited in a local teen nightclub called the Sugar Shack, followed by Jackie Fox on bass. So that was Cherry Bomb by the Runaways. Before that, it was The Who with Eminence Front, and we started off that set with the White Stripes and Ball and Biscuit. As we do every week on Office Hours, I've got a great poem picked out for you. This is from the Gallery Magazine edition, 2020 edition, another great production of UTRGV Student Media. This is a poem called Marionettes by Kevin Barbosa. A weak signal transmitting from a faulty circuit system, no one calls display on the caller ID, our wasted years ringing, lost in telephone lines, muted by a ceaseless dial tone. Until wires cross and loop, strands coursing and conducting as veins surging throughout my structure, a vigor blasting off inside me, disgorging rocket fuel and spreading volcanic ash, where trickled embers harbor to compose a faint crackle when smoke ascends through my polish. Strings appear on the outside. They hook me up and prop my limbs while a rod manipulates my head. I'm speaking in tongues. In order to create a love that is not transparently present. His solid wooden arms coil me. The cables tighten and trap me in his grasp. Cleaning up old dirty habits comes an aged, philosophical whisper. Better late than never. The staples which lodge into my form. Bending himself inward, yet breaking me within, I ask him to keep squeezing, so I slowly splinter and scar all over. For my spinal cord snaps in slivers. With my breath taken away every time, I cough out blood and exude ectoplasm, since there is no ubiquitous puppeteer. Everything we know is disjointed, the final irony of being my father's son. That's a poem called Marionettes by Kevin Barbosa in the 2020 edition of Gallery Magazine from UTRGV Student Media. Just a few more minutes left with you, and boy, we got to end this semester with a couple of kickers, right? How about a double shot of The Clash? Only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station. Have a great summer, Vaqueros. Remember to return in the fall for original programming here on Vaquero Radio, but we will be broadcasting 24/7 over the summer, so make sure you take us wherever you go. Hopefully you're listening to us on the Radio FX app on your smartphone. If not, go to your App Store and download Radio FX. Make sure to search for and favorite Vaquero Radio so you can take us wherever you are. Here's The Clash with Police on My Back, only on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station.